All right. My name is Michael Trowbridge, and the mechanic that I decided to try to add to our game, Steel Vulture, I called it the horror mechanic, but it was a little bit of a couple different mechanics put together. Uh, the primary, I guess you could say, mechanic is a lighting system that the player can interact with to turn on and off lights inside of the ship. It's supposed to add kind of a tense and kind of uh, scary like environment as they look through the cameras. Um, and the reason I wanted to do this is because we do have one of our pillars is isolation, and I wanted to try to make the game just a little bit more tense for the player. So right off the bat, the first room you start in is lit automatically. I added these little light switches, which Steve has to go over to actually turn the lights on and off. If we go over to the next room, this is called a dark room. Most of the rooms are dark rooms, um, and that's part of the mechanic as well. Only one room can actually be lit at the same time. So if I go over here and turn this light on, turns the lights on, and turns the lights off in the other room. And I can do this from any one of the light switches. Um, but the point of the quote power system that I made um, was to not only add like the kind of the horror aspect, but also when the lights are on in a specific room, it will almost buff the systems that are in that room. So like if you turn the power on in engines, it makes your fuel economy uh, a little bit better. So when you're moving the ship around, it's slightly better. Having power on in the cockpit makes the ship and radar movements a little bit quicker. And then in the weapons room, it gives a slightly longer quick time event, so it's not as hard to do. Uh, but the main purpose is you have to strategize on which room because it takes Steve, time to go over there to turn on this power system. So you can't just have you know one room available at all times. You kind of have to pick and choose. And on top of that, to make sure that the players don't just turn on one room and then ignore the rest, I added a camera event. You've probably seen some of these camera events before. A very simple little camera event. There's a little face. I can press reset camera, and after 10 seconds, it will make the face go away. But I added a new one. I also added some hotkeys so I can make them go off. But for instance, let me see. Right here. This is what I call Shadow Steve. Now, uh, in the future, I want Shadow Steve to hurt the player, technically, uh, if they don't get rid of him. But the only way to get rid of Shadow Steve is to actually turn the lights on in that room. So Shadow Steve can't show up in a room that has lights on. But as soon as you turn the lights on, it will get rid of Shadow Steve. His goal, again, in the future, not currently, but in the future, if he exists for too long, he actually starts creating fires in that room, which will destroy him as well because a fire is a light source. But anything that will uh, make the game slightly harder for the player. Oh, yep. See, there's a Shadow Steve that showed up. I didn't summon him. That was automatic. Let me get rid of this fire though. This is loud. Now, as you can see, there are still some bugs. the automatic fires that go off do not make Shadow Steve go away, so I have to fix that problem. But uh, once he has the ability to set off fires, I'll make sure that even the automatic fires that just kind of randomly go off will also get rid of him. Um, there's also a bug that sometimes in my reset camera, because it works off of the camera events, just like that face or the broken glass, this thing, these events. Sometimes there's a bug that when he pops up, the reset camera will pop up too. Now that won't get rid of him, so um, pressing this button only makes the camera offline for 10 seconds. So I got to make sure that the player doesn't have to deal with that. Yeah, here's another camera event. It's called Fisheye. Makes it go off. But yeah, as for the power system itself, I think it'll really help give Steve more things to do because he currently in Steel Vulture, our progressive level, Steve doesn't do very much. He can, he converts oxygen like from the O2 that you find in asteroids, um, but he doesn't do hardly. Oop, there's another one. See, and then there's the reset button. So I'm actually thinking about adding this reset camera button like permanently, so that it is always shown, not in the middle of the screen, probably somewhere down here. We don't have very much HUD room, but somewhere off down here. That way the player can technically reset the camera whenever they want. And they have to decide if this event needs to reset the camera or not. Because you can actually ignore them too. You don't even have to reset the camera, but it depends on how inconvenienced you want to be. But yeah, so that's my simple little scary mechanic that I made. I think the lighting was definitely difficult. I didn't want to make it too dark, but it needed to be dark enough to be considered a horror, like the horror aspect. But when the lights are on, everything important is lit up. So anything that you can click on, anything that Steve can use, that's um, those are lit up in the room. And actually, even when it's dark, the red light actually shows all the important things you can click on as well. The light switch actually has its own light that goes from red to green, depending if it's on or off. But here, let's turn this one on, see, and we'll color the important stuff again. But let me, well, I'm actually pretty close to the lose condition. The lose condition is the same as it is in most levels. But so if the ship's health goes all the way down, technically if oxygen goes all the way down, Steve starts losing health. So if Steve's health goes all the way down, or ship's health goes all the way down, you will lose. Go ahead and reset that one now. I think I saw. Yeah, here's another Shadow Man. Oh, and that's another thing about the Shadow Steve. There are certain placements throughout each room where he can show up. Let me see if I can summon one in here. Yeah, see, that's one of my my favorite ones. Um, so there's different spots that the shadow can show up. He can show up here. He can show up right here in front of the computer. He can in this room. He can show up over there. He can kind of show up like kind of sideways right here, or this huge shadow right here. In this room, it's a little elongated because of the camera angle. So in this one, he kind of just shows up right here. And again, I had to make sure that the player could see it. So in the red light, if he was overlapping some of like this super dark area, you couldn't see him. So I had to make sure like his kind of head is like right here. Over here, his body is kind of right here, and then over here, he's kind of not in front of the light switch, but he's over here. And then in this room, of course, we turn the light off. can't. Alright, give me a second. I'm just waiting for the oxygen to go down so you can see the lose condition, and then I'll do a win condition. But actually, the win and lose conditions are the same as a normal level. To win, you have to, you know, get enough scrap to release the FTL charge to get to the next level. So that gave me a bunch of rocket. Let me turn some of that into scrap. Come over here and let me get rid of this guy. And I can load the scrap into FTL charge, which will let me win the level. Again, Shadow Steve doesn't actually hurt the player currently. And that definitely will be changed in the future because otherwise there's no point of getting rid of him. He doesn't have a collision, so player can walk right through him. Doesn't hurt the player in any way for him being in the room. Let's see. But yeah, that's my new mechanic. There were a bunch of other things I wanted to add to this horror mechanic. So technically, I ended up really just making this power system where you can turn on the power of the room on and off, and it helps that system that is currently on. A lot like in FTL, Faster Than Light game, they have a power system. So only certain, if you only have a certain amount of power, and you can only power certain rooms of your choosing. So I kind of wanted to make something like that. The Shadow Steve is just an offset of that to make sure that they are transferring power back and forth. But that's my level. Hope you enjoyed it.
Hello, my name is Ben Martinez, and I will be presenting my Milestone 2 game mechanic. So we're gonna start off in Perforce. Gonna jump into our build. And my mechanic for this milestone was optional objectives or tasks for the player to complete. The idea was that there are these little like optional things for the player to do when they're in each level, instead of just the regular just mining stuff, getting materials, and going to the next level. There's some optional things that they can do if they have enough fuel and materials to complete it, to give them like some extra things. So like over here on the right side, I have this little button, optional task, make it very obvious obviously for this. So you click on it, it brings up these little boxes that have the objective and what they reward. So obviously for this one, I haven't decided what they do yet, but that comes later. So what we're going to work on for this time, for this demonstration, be find a hidden treasure and then mine 3 asteroids without missing. So going into the radar, sees a bunch of asteroids and stuff here we can look at. So we're going to start with this one here. You see, we hit the first one. Fantastic. So the goal here is hit 3 in a row without missing. Second one scanned. Cool. 2 for 2. See if we can get this third one. Where can I mine one? Let's go down here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Right, ship. Nope, didn't want to do that. Here we go, third asteroid. Fantastic. See, and there it is. So we did the 3 asteroids flawlessly. The screen going to pop back up, and down here it says complete. So whenever you get rid of the thing or the screen, you bring it back up in case you forgot. It's still going to be there if you forget whether or not you completed it. I'm going to reset this real quick. And as for the reward for 100 of a resource, I believe it was the rocket. And I have it set up so when that task is complete, it generates a random number that's tied to one of the resources, and then I just add 100 to it. That's pretty cut and dry. So then for the next one we're going to do is find the hidden treasure, and the reward for that is to get a full FTL charge, which is this bar up here. So I'll do that, go into the radar, and then we're just going to look around. I set it next to the ship for testing purposes, so we're just going to go and scan this thing right here. And up in the top left, it's going to say it's a treasure. And to trigger this, all you have to do is just move the ship to it so that it collides and then triggers the objective to complete. So we're going to head on over there. And there it is. And then another thing for this one specifically, for the full FTL charge, you need the charge to be full to jump to the next level. So to do that, we have full FTL charge here, and also this button that pops up under the FTL charge. This is how you would complete the level. So you just click on this, and then there you go. So that is my mechanic for milestone 2. Thank you for watching.
Warning. Alright, my name is Vinny Zhang, and I'll be presenting my mechanic for this sprint review. Of course, I did not build lighting, so I'm gonna get rid of the tutorial, because that's not the mechanic. So my mechanic for milestone 2 was the stamina mechanic. Right now the mechanic is working every tick, it goes down by 1. It's supposed to, every time when Steve moves, it will drain some stamina. And then they will have to go to this room, and there's camera vents now, just as a noise for the player. But that's not my mechanic either. And the stamina will go down, and definitely go down. And see, if they sit down, it'll still keep draining. And of course, there's a fire. And since Steve is fixing that, and another thing is every time Steve will fix something, it will consume a certain amount of stamina to fix it. That's just another mechanic that the stamina bar will have. Steve doesn't have that mechanic at the moment. And then to regain the stamina, it's like another another manage resource mechanic. They gotta see the stamina bar, it's going down. When it hits a certain stamina, Steve will slow down until he regains stamina again. And of course, it doesn't work because you don't have stamina. You don't get stamina from the asteroids, and you can't convert that into the bed. So that's my mechanic for milestone 2. And this is my first mechanic, but I gotta show you a win condition. So, and all these annoyance. And so, oh wait, it started again. And right, alright, there we go. Now let's fix that fire that's coming in the bridge, I'm pretty sure. Interesting. I don't see the fire. So let's just do something else. Alright, that's a big fire that I cannot see. So let me lower the volume for you guys so you guys could. So let's scan. Let's go to the weapons room, right? And yes, I have enough scrap, so let's do this. So it's the win conditions, obviously getting enough scrap. And I also increased Thieves' movement. It used to go really slow, but now it goes pretty fast. I think you could spam this. And yeah, when you get enough, you could get the FTL jump. So you press it, you win. But let's restart the prototype so you guys could see the lose condition. The lose condition should be if the asteroid, it collides with the asteroid and there's a fire, which is right here, and then that's the other way. Ship collides with asteroid. Is it an asteroid? Oh, it is. Yes, it is an asteroid. Another lose condition is when auction goes to 0 and Steve's health goes all the way to 0. I don't think I could show you the lose condition since it takes a pretty long time to like lose, but it takes forever in my level. So I'll go to someone else level that everything's already pretty low. So low select, it will be the warning system. The warning system has everything at really low, and you could collide with stuff. Let's do that. It collides, and then this thing shows where you are. And then you click, collides, and then your ship is pretty low. Your fuel meter is always going down, and fire is always hitting. And then you want to and then it hits and game over. So when the ship health goes to 0, it will show this prompt to see that you have lost the game and do you want to reset or go back in main menu. The reset prototype will be gone next month since we won't be doing prototyping anymore. We'll be balancing. So that'll be all. Let's go back to main menu. And that will be all for this video. And yeah, goodbye.
Hello, my name is Anthony Schroeder. I'm working on Team Pretty Ape. I'm here to do the sprint review for my level that I worked on for Sprint 2. It's the GenBox prototype level. I also made a new mechanic called Quick Movement that I will also display. So this entire level is actually randomly generated. So all of these are placed at random, not entirely random, but here, if I get to a safe spot, and then I go into the debug camera, you can actually see, so each of these grids is what is called a GenBox manager. And it starts basically from whatever X and Y coordinate that you put into it, and you can set the type of generation as well. So all of the ones that surround the starting point, kind of the north, south, east, and west here, they're all using the standard generation type. You can also see the ones further out have the spacing farther. And I think I went in almost a layering system where the inner ring around where the ship starts is standard generation. And then kind of the area right beyond all of that is minefield. There's also, you can see generation for asteroid field over here with a turret. Asteroids are kind of bugged inside right now. That's fine. You can see the further you get from the spawn, the more that the boxes that spawn each of these at the start of the level is from each other. So as the further you go, the further space there is between objects. And again, these can be set. You can see the one out here has a lot of wrecked ships. This is because this generation type is set to battle remnants. So you're going to be getting mostly wrecked ships, maybe one anomaly or asteroid here or there. But yeah, so that's how this works. Looking at it inside the build. Normally a player would never be seeing this, but the boxes are kind of just for the developer to be able to physically see where all of these objects came from. So each time I generate this level, it'll be a different basically layout of things. Now going back to the radar, getting back inside, I can now show you the quick move function, which I also have worked on this month. So when you hit U, you go into quick move mode, where now each of these points, if I want to go right, that is not working in this level. That is okay. I know where it will work in the normal steel vulture level. But that was the GenBox prototype. You can see how that is used. I just go new game. Let's get past the tutorial. You can now see in here, if I hit U, that basically prompts. Oh, what is going on? Does not appear to be active in this level either. Strange. Maybe it's not in this build. It should be. Well, let's go just to make sure. Maybe that launched the tutorial level, not the Steel Vulture where it is. All right, now I can demonstrate the feature. Okay, so when you hit U, then you see in the top left now the quick move mode is now on a true. So if I hit a direction, it will automatically go there, and the quick move moves off. But I can do that in any direction. So if I need to quickly move the ship, you basically just press one button and then a direction, and you'll go there. So if I prompt it up, as you can see, it also works. Not work yet with the radar controls on the table, but it does work currently with arrow keys and is still in development. So those are the things that I worked on for the sprint, the biggest of which being the GenBox Manager. Thank you for watching my video.